the science guy. Bill Nye, the science guy. Bill Nye, the science guy.
Well, you all recognize the name Bill Nye. He's become one of the most prominent science communicators ever, and his latest project is taking him on a tour with stops in Canada alongside a new series that looks at the world's most epic disasters.
And Bill Nye, the science guy, joined us now on CP24 Breakfast. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, good morning.
We are so excited to have you here with us. I personally have grown up seeing you in my science class. My ringtone is the Bill Nye theme song, so I just had to mention that, throw that in there.
Love the song, love the song. So did you grow up listening to the Crawl Space? Watching the Crawl Space?
No,
Did I misspeak?
The Disney, no, you didn't misspeak at all. The Disney show that you would have, we would put it on our science show, on our science class, every single day.
But it was, but you know, in Toronto, in Ontario, it was also on PBS.
Right.
TVO,
we have it on TVO here, yeah.
No, I've misspoke.
YTV.
I don't mean PBS, I mean
YTV.
Canadian television, and it was Kevin and Patty in the Crawl Space, and they were cool. They were lovely co-hosts. But it's great to see you.
Great to see you too. We have to ask about this tour. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. You're back better than ever and always looking to teach us about science.
So here's what we found out that surprised me at first, that when there's a pandemic, people don't, you might expect people to tune into, to rent or stream romantic comedies, or something like that, something relaxing and fun. But instead, people stream Contagion. They want more trouble. And so what we did, we created 6 one-hour disaster movies. And by the way, we didn't do a pandemic because there was one going on, but Seth MacFarlane has a cameo or 2 cameos in every episode. But these are based on science, on real concerns from real scientists. And these are things that could really happen. So name a disaster, you guys. It's not that hard. Come up with one.
Fukushima?
Earthquake, yeah.
Well, earthquake is sort of the last one. We have earthquakes. I am so old. I'm so old. You're supposed to say how old are you? I'm so old.
Do you want us to do that or not? Yeah.
I'm so old. I remember I was in elementary school when this enormous earthquake happened in Alaska, in the old town of Valdez, Alaska. And it was catastrophic. These tsunamis, which were these mythic things that no one had ever really, it was like sort of science fiction things, went all over the world, all over the Pacific Rim, rather. And so we do one about that. But the other one that people are really off the top of their head, many people will say an asteroid impact. Mm-hmm. So we have a comet, which is the same thing. And it's based on this real astronomy where the comet, that scene right there is from the Giant Storm Show, where the comet comes in and causes catastrophic events because of the gravity of Jupiter, the planet Jupiter. And this is, based on real science, and it's something to really be concerned about. And I was, as the CEO of the Planetary Society, I was a little bit involved in the double asteroid redirection test, DART. Yeah. And it worked. We ran into an asteroid and slowed it down. Slowed it down enough so that its orbit sped up. And by the way, my Canadian friends, be very proud of the Canadian Space Agency. You got instruments on every mission ever. And appreciate your support as a guy in the other country here. So
there's definitely a lot of Canadian pride in that, Bill. There's no doubt about that. And, Eden was talking about science class. When I'm a bit older than Eden. When I grew up, the Canada Arm was just such a huge deal for Canadian space achievements as well. That's no doubt about that, and all the Canadian astronauts we've had. Before we let you go, though, Bill, this may not be so sciencey, but it's definitely zeitgeisty. It's you doing this key Glock dance, which kind of went viral suddenly. Can you tell us a bit about this moment and where you got these moves from?
Well, first of all, you'll see I'm still just crazy. My feet turn in, but it's That's a company issue. My mother and her brother both had that. But this is a fundraiser for prostate cancer, and it's called the Blue Jacket Fashion Show. And the viewer may note that I'm wearing a blue jacket.
Yes, I do.
And that jacket, by the way, was designed by a Canadian designer. But anyway, this is when the music's playing. How can you help but dance, people?
Right. Yeah.
Come on. Am I unusual in this way?
Absolutely not. Especially
I mean,
with the
I'm of a
song.
certain age. You know, I came of age with disco music, and so it's people are more alike than they are different. I'm sorry, and it's just when the music's playing, you got to rock it. Come on, people.
I got a blue jacket on this morning. I didn't know there were going to be dance moves associated with it, though. Yeah.
I think it'd be a fine thing. Now, a lot of times, everybody at home. I worked in television for a long time. You don't know if he's wearing pants.
I'm wearing pants. I was sitting on the couch earlier. So we don't know if you're wearing pants.
Yeah, he could stand up and you wouldn't even know what was going on. Yeah. I used to work. There was in Seattle, for a long time. There was a very well-known sportscaster who wore gym shorts.
Yeah.
It was part of his shtick.
Comfortable.
And then they changed the set so that you have the same thing too. This current worship of plexiglass desks.
Yeah.
We'll be holding Nick
where you
accountable. Don't worry, Bill. Yeah, pants every day.
That's good. Well, let's suit yourselves. Who am I to judge? But everybody, I'll be in Kitchener, London, and Toronto next week. Very much looking forward to it. As you know, I love coming to Canada. I've just worked. We shot most of this show in Montreal. And you guys know where that is, even though they have the language barrier. And it was great. The crew was great, and we very much enjoyed it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bill, for joining us this morning. I know all of the people in the newsroom have been very excited to have you with us, and we're excited to see you back in Canada.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's great. I'm very much looking forward. You guys come on out and see the show. It'll be funny and thought-provoking, and we will together, dare I say it, change the world.
I like the sound of that. Bill Nye, the Science Guy, here on CP24 Breakfast. Thanks again. Really appreciate the education and the laughs, of course, as always. Bill Nye, you got to talk to Bill Nye this morning.
My day's made. I can die happy now.
Absolutely, yeah. More amazing young people to introduce you to this morning here on CP24 Breakfast. Pretty remarkable stuff. This is a trio of students from the University of Toronto, and they've won the NFL's Big Data Bowl. They're taking home $20,000 US for developing a tool that tracks and measures the pressure a quarterback faces when they have the ball in the pocket. Now, the students say their technology can easily be adapted for use in a broadcast setting, but could also be valuable, of course, to a team's analytics department. So joining us now are two of the winners, Hassan Ayatali and Daniel Hocevar. Thank you both for being here. I know you're a trio, but two of you are here today. Hassan, let me start with you. Before we even talk about this, some people may be watching and have no idea what pressure means. What does it mean to pressure an NFL quarterback?
For sure. So right now in the NFL, essentially how we define pressure is in terms of sacks, hits, and hurries. So essentially whether or not the quarterback was sacked during a play, whether they were hit, or whether they were just hurried into releasing the ball a little bit early. So essentially what our project was trying to do was quantify that continuously. So because pressure isn't something that just either happens or it doesn't, it's something that's continuous. Like you feel some levels of pressure throughout a play. So essentially we just wanted to understand that a little bit better and quantify it so that people understand it a little bit better.
So Daniel, then explain then what you've been able to find through the data, I suppose, that the NFL provided you in order to measure this form of pressure.
Yeah, so we think our pressure metric provides a lot of value to teams, both in being able to look at how well they're performing at the team level and also which players are pressuring the quarterback the most. But one thing we're really excited about is how this new metric changes the experience for fans. So when you're watching a game of football right now, if there's no sack on a play, it can be really, really hard to tell whether the defense is doing a good job of pressuring the quarterback. But now for the first time with our metric, we're actually able to quantify this. So TV broadcasts can basically display a heat map on the screen which shows how much pressure is on the quarterback, where that pressure is coming from, and which players are pressuring the quarterback. And all this information gives fans new ways to understand the game, which is really exciting for us.
Right, and sometimes football can be confusing for people watching, especially the kind of play you've identified there. We know when a pass is received, we know when a run is successful, but pressure is something sort of has been a little bit vague until you've kind of defined it now, or sort of made it easier to define. The league must love this. I mean, clearly you won the Data Bowl, but what have you heard from NFL teams or executives?
For sure. So NFL executives generally find that our product adds value to what they're trying to do because once you have this continuous continuous metric for pressure, not only does it add value on the offensive and defensive line side, but it adds value for the quarterbacks in determining how capable they are in completing passes under pressure, how capable receivers are in, like, I guess, getting to their routes early enough while there's pressure being incurred on the quarterback. So I guess it's from a strategy perspective, also from the quarterback's perspective, in addition to the offensive and defensive lines, there's a lot of value to be added from this tool.
Guys, this is super fascinating. Before I go on, Daniel and Hussein, are you both football fans?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so it's not just not just like sowing the data, and this is something you could apply it to, but you're football fans as well. What could this potentially mean? The way I interpreted this when I was looking into this last night, Daniel, was it reminded me of the movie Moneyball, that whole Billy Bean idea of the analysis of players' strengths and weaknesses and what you want to add to your team. Is this somewhat connected or adjacent to that?
For sure. So a big piece of our project is based off of this new data source that the NFL has, player tracking data, which tells us every player's location at every moment throughout a game. And really what this lets us do is not only look at what happens at the end of the play, but what happens throughout. And that's super, super powerful because it gives teams much deeper insights, kind of like Moneyball, into which players are really, really valuable.
Really quickly, because we're out of time, do you guys have a future like working with the NFL potentially more now?
I think that there's definitely some opportunities to expand on our work to allow for the NFL to build on our ideas, for sure.
Fantastic. Daniel, Hussein, congratulations to both of you. Really nice to meet you. I can't wait to see what else you do.
Thanks so much.
Thanks so much.
All right, okay. Well, Canadian shoppers have definitely been looking at their grocery bills with an eagle's eye and are even satisfied with how stores have been handling price discrepancies. But there are codes in place at the checkout that could make some of those purchases completely free. So let's talk more about this as we're all trying to save our pennies at the grocery store. Sylvain Charlebois is the director of the Agri-Food Analytics Lab at Dalhousie University, friend of CP24 Breakfast, I think we can officially say now, and he joins us this morning. Sylvain, good to see you again today. So let's talk first of all about your latest report on the accuracy of pricing at grocery stores. I take a look at what you're saying here. A lot of people really paying attention to their bills here. That seems like a good thing.
Yeah, 45% of shoppers actually will look at their receipts every single time they go to the grocery store, which is actually lower than expected. I don't know if you actually check your receipt, but I do, certainly. And I will notice once in a while, I will actually find a mistake. In fact, 67% of Canadians have actually found at least one mistake in the last year. So if you don't look at your receipt, you're likely leaving money at the grocery store.
I'm certainly guilty of not really checking my receipts that carefully. I do like to see how much I saved if I know I've made a couple of buys. I'm like, oh, I saved some money here. Or I like to check out kind of how many points I earned on the sort of shopping trip, something like that. But, you know, you point that out about the idea that when you do look and people finding these mistakes, so mistakes are being made, and that can cost you money. What's kind of the average? Like, have you rounded that up or figured out what the average kind of maybe mistakes or errors that are going against you could cost you each year?
So based on our analysis, we actually believe that if you actually look at your receipt every single time you go to the grocery store, you could actually save anywhere between $50 to $75 for the entire year. It may not sound like much, but right now with a food inflation rate at 9.7%, we need all the help we can get. So yeah, you're definitely leaving money at the grocery store if you don't look at your receipt.
Yeah, you could afford a block of cheese at that price
Exactly.
these days.
Maybe a pound of butter.
Exactly,
Maybe.
The way dairy prices are going, that's for sure here. Also, it's interesting, your report also highlights the idea of like damaged products and returning recalled products as well, and how Canadians are responding to that. What are we doing when it comes to those types of products?
So again, a lot of people are noticing damaged products that they may actually not have noticed at the grocery store. Same for recalled products. A lot of people have actually bought some products that are recalled. Most of the time when people go back to the grocery store to get a refund, they actually do get a refund. You don't even need a receipt, by the way. You don't have to find your receipt if there's a problem. Grocery stores tend to be really friendly. And in fact, in Ontario, the satisfaction rate is actually quite high, one of the highest in the country.
Yeah, I noticed that. So let's talk about the sort of scanning code of conduct or practice, whatever it is, Sylvain.
Yes.
This is interesting because this could really save some people some money, and it's really kind of holding stores to account of the prices they're posting or offering, really.
Yeah, it's been around for decades, Nick. Really. I mean, it was organized by the Retail Council of Canada. It's called the Scanner Code of Conduct. And so as a consumer, if you paid for an item and the price is wrong or something is wrong on your receipt, you can actually go to the customer service counter, and that grocer will actually give you that product for free if it's under $10. So I would take advantage of it as much as possible.
Right, and we just sort of put that what we just put on the screen there, that's actually a sticker that you see a lot of grocery stores. So is this, Sylvain, all grocery stores take part in this, or is it more the major chains that are doing this? And how easy is it to sort of file these kind of issues or complaints?
It's pretty easy. Now, if you actually go on the Retail Council of Canada's website, you'll see the list of all grocers which do participate and endorse the code, but it's basically most of them, really. Most of them will. The major chains are all part of this code.
Right, and I've actually done this before. You know, you buy products, you know, like a case of sparkling water, which everyone knows I drink a ton of. You know, those are frequently on sale, priced wrong.
Yeah.
And really, it's just really a matter of calling it out. So listen, Sylvain Charlebois, we really appreciate the time this morning. Thanks for sort of highlighting this, because, you know, a lot of people around this newsroom didn't even know about it. So good to talk to you about it this morning. Hopefully our viewers learned something as well. We'll talk soon, I'm sure. Take care.
Well, there's a shape for things for us. We partner up with Sandy and Stewie, with Pierce. Death wrestling ogres.
Excited to get into this knife fight?
Let's blow it up.
Succession has been a wild ride, and safe to say, a huge success, getting universal acclaim for the direction of the show. And joining us now for more on the upcoming season is Nicholas Brown, a.k.a. Cousin Greg. And I'm not just saying this because you're sitting here, but a.k.a. my absolute favorite character on this show.
Thank you very much.
I feel like we all have like a cousin Greg who would show up as soon as we inherited all the money, right? Like, it's easy to say that.
Yeah. I'd like to represent all those weird cousins that shouldn't be at the meal.
But listen, this show, like I said, has been such a wild ride. Season 4, the final season, kicks off on our network, Crave, this Sunday.
Yeah.
And I mean, last we see Brian Cox's character, Logan, really just kind of screwing over his family when it comes to the whole money aspect of it. So where do we pick up? Like, is Cousin Greg still even like part of this deal at all?
Cousin Greg just doing his own thing, bought an island, tiny island. No, he's definitely in the mix. He, as you know, got brought along by Tom.
Yeah.
So Tom is with Logan, thus Greg gets to be with Logan.
Yeah.
So Greg is on the winning side at the beginning of the season.
Now, we know that when there's like success like this in, you know, when it comes to family and inheritance and all of that, like it can make things really, really complicated. And we've seen that complication through the last 3 seasons. How much like bigger do those complications get in season 4? Like, what are people in for this final season?
Oh my God, it's crazy. I mean, the first episode alone is just, it's intense. You know, everybody's at odds. It's kind of your classic stuff, like backstabbing and, you know, I want to use a swear word, but being mean to each other.
Yeah, we are live TV, children watching.
They are screwing each other over. But yeah, it's a lot of that, and a lot of pain and strife, and me and Tom having a pseudo-romantic relationship.
Yeah, Jesse Armstrong, the genius behind this show.
Yes.
You know, there was so much back and forth about whether to continue another season or to not, and even he was just torn with that decision. But obviously now we know this is the final season. Like, what went through your mind when you found out that this was going to be the sort of the final curtain?
Yeah, I mean, he told us on a big Zoom call like a year ago, like before we'd even started filming the show, and I think we all just trust him so much that. We'd been betting on how many seasons for a long time, even since season 1. We're like always like wondering. Like,
did you think it was going to get to 4?
I think one of our actors said like 3. We're like, no, hell no, it's not. I think we would have liked 6 or 7 if Jesse wanted to write that, but he wanted to write 4. So So we were good with that.
I can imagine there were some tears on the last day. Like, what was that? Like, can you go back to that? Are you gonna start crying if I dig too deep?
Buried it deep into my subconscious. I can't.
But I can imagine it was such a tough day on your last day.
It really was. Yeah. I think I was kind of putting it off and didn't want to think of it as the last time I'd be in a Greg suit or with these people, and so it kind of hit me in a moment right at the end, and I was like, oh my God, I won't be up in this office building anymore, but really, we have the greatest crew and cast and everything, so it was sad. It was,
but this show is coming to an end. However, the Succession family is growing. Did you know that Sarah was going to debut her baby bump at the premiere? Like, did you know about that?
Yeah. I mean, I knew it was happening. The body was changing with a new child growing inside of it.
A human growing inside of her.
Yeah, we just wished it would have happened sooner because we would have put the baby on TV, put it in the show. And
I love that you're making that directorial sort of decision for her baby's behalf.
Just wish we would have started filming a few months earlier. Would have been really cool.
So, for her, obviously, one door is closing and another one is obviously opening, another chapter of her life. But what about you? I was obviously going down the rabbit hole on your Instagram, and I saw like a little spinning action going on.
Oh, you saw that?
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, it's kind of hard not to see it. So is this the future?
It's big news. It's big news.
What would your DJ name be?
DJ
Cousin Greg.
DJ Cousin Greg. Keep the roll going. Just never stop. Just do lines of dialogue over the microphone.
Oh my goodness.
No, it would only be the theme song that I would play.
Just that song.
I just think it looks really cool when DJs are touching all the knobs and patting their thing down, and so I thought I can do that too, just without any training.
Nicholas, it was so great to sit down with you. Congratulations on all the success.
Thank you.
With Succession, pun intended.
Yes.
As we mentioned, the last and final season 4 kicks off on Crave this Sunday. If you have not started watching the show, first of all, I'm super jealous when people tell me, they're like, oh, it's on my list, I'm just starting.
Totally.
And if you are following it, you already know what you're in for. All right, Nick, Eden, to you guys with news.
Enjoy.
Thank you for your time.
West Park Tournament of Stars Celebrity Basketball Tournament presented by Raymond James. Let's hear it. This is truly
a stacked group of notable NBA alums and supporters of West Park Foundation are now set to duke it out on the basketball court during the 4th annual West Park Foundation Tournament of the Stars. It's all happening this weekend right here in the city. And joining us now are one of the team captains and a former Raptor, Jerome Williams, and past patient of West Park, Jamoy Anderson. Welcome both to you guys.
Morning.
Thanks for being here this morning, waking up bright and early, of course. And you guys assured me everything happening is happening indoors, so nothing should be infected by the weather today.
Correct.
Perfect. Great to hear. So tell me a little bit about how you're feeling. It's the first year back. Pandemic put things on hold. Are we having bigger and better plans than before?
Oh, absolutely. West Park Tournament of Stars is just an exciting event. Obviously, it's for a great cause. Exactly. Jamoy has been one of the troopers involved for the last 4 years, and really, just expanding what these type of injuries and the help that's needed across the city. And I'm just so glad to be a part of it every year.
Yeah. And I can tell from the look on your face. Jamoy, tell us a little bit more about how you got involved with this event.
Yeah, so I amputated my leg over 10 years ago and went through the process of doing my rehabilitation at West Park, and took the kind of route to get my life back and my independence. And I grew up playing basketball, watching this guy actually on TV. So it was important for me to get back to a place where I was competing and kind of doing my thing again. And West Park helped me get back to that point. And having the Tournament of Stars, surrounded around basketball, surrounded around fundraising, surrounded around all the great things that West Park does, it kind of only makes sense, right?
And that's amazing. And that's really what West Park is all about, right? Getting people back up on their feet. Exactly. And of course, Tournament of Stars, getting them back into the events and hobbies that they might have done previously before things happened to them.
Absolutely. And it's such a great event for the community as well. Tickets aren't, it's sold out for tonight. They knew Jamoy was showing up, so they They bought all the tickets. So tonight is sold out, but tomorrow on Saturday, 9 a.m. University of Toronto, UT, and it's fun for everybody because you get to see some of obviously the stars of yesterday, myself, the headliners. That's what you got to look at. The headliners, the head-to-head competition that's going down is going to be so exciting. I got Meta World Peace. I'm always looking forward to that battle. Mo Pete, my former Raptor teammate. We always have a lot of fun. You got Corey Maggette coming in. Yeah. Ricky Davis. He's coming in. It's going to be a lot of fun. I know Baron Davis, he's looking for that Jose Calderon matchup. Yeah. that old school matchup is going to be nice. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we even have WNBA stars like Angel McGuffrey, she's going to be in. And it makes it fun for everybody to be able to come and, participate. And we'll see who gets drafted tonight for which teams and, what the matchups are going to look like.
Well, I was going to say, if that's not an incentive to get out and participate, watch, I don't know what is. Jamoy, how do you feel actually being there, seeing the action, seeing people come out from the community and everyone getting together in the sport of basketball? Yeah, exactly. And similar to me saying earlier, like I watched some of these guys kind of play basketball growing up, and having gone through the process of my rehabilitation, it's so important, not only for kind of West Park, but how the community comes together to support great initiatives like this. And it's a great feeling to be a part of something that's so helpful and so needed across our community.
He's being modest. The last time we stepped on the court, he literally took me to the cup. He's not playing like right now. He's all cuddly and
we gotta be.
He puts on his game face. He's a different animal.
He's playing the long game.
Time and place, right?
Exactly.
See, don't let that smile, that Canadian smile. He got a $1 million smile, matter of fact.
Thank you, sir.
But he gets busy.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. Jerome Jamoy, thank you so much for joining me. Tournament of Stars happening this weekend. Tomorrow, tickets are still available.